Hi, thanks for joining us today for the City of Pittsburgh's 2022 Public Service Application Information Session. Today is Monday, April 11th. With me today, I have Amanda Rainier, Program Coordinator, Megan McElhenney, Program Coordinator, and Josh Rollon, Senior Program Coordinator for the Office of Management and Budget Community Development Division. And my name is Whitney Finstrom, Senior Manager of the division. So I'd like to go over the agenda today, just to give you some background information on what we're going to be covering. We wanted to welcome everyone and also to provide some understanding about the source of these public service grants, provide program overview, the typical types of eligible public service activities, eligible organizations, as well as then the public service grant application itself to give you an idea as to how the application is set up and the typical questions in the application. And then also to go over the application submission timeline, and then to provide an opportunity to answer any questions you have via our email addresses. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Amanda, who's going to talk about the source of public service grants.
Funding for the public service grant comes from the Community Development Block Grant Program, or CDBG program. CDBG is administered by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, and is subject to HUD standards. Each year, Congress approves the amount of CDBG funding to the City of Pittsburgh. This year, the city anticipates receiving $14 million in CDBG funds. Most of these funds go to city infrastructure projects, but $650,000 is available for the public service grant. All public service projects must meet one of the national objectives. As you can see here, they're broken up into 3 categories: urgent need, a need having a particular urgency, usually natural disasters or things that are more recent in origin. Slum and blight, aids in the prevention or elimination of slum and blight in a neighborhood area. And what we'll be focusing on today is the low mod income clientele or census tract area, as you can see on the left side of the slide. Most of the public services projects that are funded fall under this category. And some of the examples are meeting the needs of housing, job training, and food security. The public service grant is a reimbursement grant. Each year, HUD awards CDBG funds to the City of Pittsburgh, and the city then awards funds to eligible area nonprofits. The nonprofits or subrecipient pays for the goods and services, then they submit supporting documents to the city for reimbursement. The City of Pittsburgh then issues a reimbursement check to the grantee, and it's roughly a 30-day process once all documents have been submitted to the city. Organizations who are eligible to apply for this grant must be a 501c3 nonprofit tax status organization, have a mission that supports City of Pittsburgh residents, demonstrate financial management capacity, and new for this year, have a SAMS.gov profile with a unique entity ID, which Josh will talk about later. Have no outstanding financial liabilities with the City of Pittsburgh or demonstrate an approved payment plan. Organizations must have general current liability insurance, and if they have paid staff, valid workers' compensation insurance. Types of projects that are eligible for public service grants include but are not limited to the following. And you can see the list of various activities here on this slide, but some include services for senior citizens, youth programs, services for people experiencing homelessness, substance abuse services, and employment services. Next, Megan will talk about project eligibility.
Eligible public service projects must benefit City of Pittsburgh residents who have low and moderate incomes. There are 2 pathways to eligibility. Area benefit, which means that your project is happening in a census tract where at least 51% of residents have low to moderate income, and the project benefits all residents of that census tract. Or limited clientele, which means that your specific program participants are low or moderate income. We'll dive into the specifics for each pathway now. Projects that qualify under area benefit would be something like a vacant lot cleanup or the creation of a neighborhood park. If your staff is interacting with clients or program participants face-to-face, it likely would not be considered an area benefit project. At least 51% of area residents in the census tract must be low or moderate income, as determined by their census block. The activities must be open to and benefit all residents of the area, and your agency must determine service area of activity, and the area must be primarily residential. Here you see a map of eligible low and moderate income census tracts. The blue census tracts are the ones that will qualify for area benefit. To see a larger, more interactive version of this map, you can go to gis.pittsburghpa.gov/CDBG. A majority of public service projects qualify under the limited clientele pathway. These are projects that benefit specific program participants, and a minimum of program participants must be Pittsburgh residents who have a low or moderate income. If your project is a job training program and you have 20 program participants, you must be able to show that at least 11 of those participants are low or moderate income and live in the city of Pittsburgh. We do tend to prefer that your ratio be a little higher than 51%, but that is the bare minimum. In most cases, you must be able to verify income for your program participants. If you're a food pantry, you might collect benefit statements from your clients. If you're a youth program, you might collect report cards, which will note if a student is enrolled in the free or reduced lunch program. A job training program might collect pay stubs for their program participants. We are required to use area median income to determine whether a program participant is considered low or moderate income. Area median income is determined by HUD, and they calculate the limits by using median income data from the most recent American Community Survey and multiply it by the CPI inflation factor. New income limits are typically announced every June. For us, income verification means making sure that your client or program participant comes from a household that has an annual income that falls under the low or moderate limit, and the income source must be current within 90 days. Annual income includes wages, salaries, overtime pay, commissions, fees, tips and bonuses, unemployment payments, disability compensation, workers' compensation, severance pay or alimony and child support payments, net income from the operation of a business or profession, temporary assistance for needy families or TANF, Social Security and Social Security income. We recognize that income verification is often a barrier to service, but unfortunately, this is a HUD requirement to conduct this kind of screening. If your project is funded, we're happy to work with you to create a process that will work for your organization and satisfies the HUD requirement. That being said, there are a few kinds of limited clientele projects that are exempt from the income verification process. If your project exclusively serves abused children, older adults ages 62 and older, victims of intimate partner violence, persons experiencing homelessness, illiterate adults, persons living with AIDS, migrant farm workers, or severely disabled adults, you would not have to verify income for those kinds of projects. However, you will still need to collect demographic data and number of people served. I will now hand it over to Joshua Roland, who will discuss the application itself.
So now that you have determined the organizations and programs that are eligible for this grant, you're ready to apply. On this page, you see the link to the EngagePGH where the application lives. This application is online, and it's available on EngagePGH. The grant limits for this application are $5,000 to $150,000. Although, please note that the majority of 2021 awardees received less than $10,000. The deadline for the application is Friday, May 6th, and please note that this is a new application format if you've completed this in the past. Here is the first section of the application, and you can see that this is asking for information about your organization, including contact information. If you see question number 11, This is asking for your unique entity ID. This is a new federal requirement that each group that submits for funding must complete. It's a 12-character ID containing numbers and letters assigned by sam.gov. If you have applied for funding in the past, this is where we used to ask for the DUNS number. We are no longer accepting the DUNS number, and you must provide a UEI. On the EngagePGH website, where you can find this application, there is a guide on how to obtain a UEI number, which involves registering through sam.gov. Moving down to question 23 and 24 of the application, here is where you will discuss income verification. The majority of organizations that apply for this funding will need to verify income. If you don't currently verify income, that's fine, but please let us know what your plan is for the income verification process. There are a couple attachments at the end of this application. The first one, attachment A, is your most recently submitted IRS 990 form. All applicants are required to submit this form. Attachment B is the client intake form that you use, which may include your income verification process if it is applicable for your organization. Finally, you'll see at the bottom of the application page a button to submit. When you are ready to submit your application, we recommend gathering all of the information you need ahead of time because progress cannot be saved on the EngagePGH platform. We do have a Word document where you can develop your answers ahead of time and submit onto the EngagePGH page once that's completed. Please do not submit the Word document, only submit through the EngagePGH online application. And now I'm going to turn it over to Whitney Finstrom to close us out.
All right, thanks, Josh, Megan, and Amanda for that overview. And I hope it's given everyone some good information to complete the application. I would like to go over the timeline just so everyone knows about some of the upcoming dates. We, first of all, have 2 question and answer sessions coming up. The first one will be on Friday, April 22nd from 12 noon until 1 p.m. And the second one will be Thursday, April 28th from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And we do ask that you register ahead of time, and you'll find the link to the registration form located on the EngagePGH site. We do want to emphasize that the applications are due on May 6th, and that after that submission date, we will be reviewing the applications for basic eligibility under the CDBG guidance. We anticipate that in June of 2022, that City Council and the Mayor's Office will review the applications to determine their allocations to applicants. And that in July of 2022, City Council will legislate to approve those allocations, and that in August of 2022, organizations will be notified about their funding. Again, these are all anticipated dates depending on when the HUD determines what the funding levels will be, but those are the dates we're hoping will work out. And finally, if you have questions or comments, please do follow up with us. You can email us at community.development@pittsburghpa.gov. That's our primary email address. And you can always go to our hub site with all the information related to the Public Service 2022 grant, including the application itself, the registration link for the question and answer sessions, and webinars. That is located on the engage.pittsburghpa.gov 2022 Public Service Grant website. Again, thank you very much for spending your day with us. Thank you.